Imagine yourself in a forest, or maybe in the woods, maybe at night, or even during the day, and you spot a creature incredibly massive in size, maybe almost 10 feet tall, charging towards you. What are you gonna do? You probably would just say your last prayer, because that might be the last thing you know on planet Earth. But based on what's happening, the mystical creature Bigfoot has not been known for causing violence or attacking people. Instead, the few people who have spotted this colossal beast, most of them have reported that the beast would rather flee from them and prevent these researchers from keeping long tabs on them, as if they are hiding and wouldn't want to be seen. I'll be showing you 19 of the most shocking and exciting Bigfoot sightings and encounters, and you tell me what you think of the American mythology creature in these sightings recorded. Doug Teague was a Bigfoot hunter who resided in Hickory, North Carolina. On this particular day, Doug was taking a walk in the woods just outside the city when he heard some very large knocking in the distance. His curiosity led him to follow the noise until he got to a point where he could see what was making the noise, a very unrecognizable creature. He decided to start recording. Alongside the sight of this creature, he also saw the really large footprint of this creature, and when analyzed by specialists, they claimed that, as large as those footprints were, they would belong to a 15-foot creature. But it could be anything really, including being the highly anticipated Sasquatch. Beardcard was a YouTuber who was camping with a couple of his friends at Provo Canyon, Utah. While they were camping, they spotted a bear, and in an effort to see it better, they decided to get closer. But when they got closer, they beheld something else. Mind you, Beardcard was recording the sighting live on his YouTube channel. This happened in 2012. As they got closer, it was still kind of blurry, as some branches were blocking the view of this so-called bear. But getting closer, the figure looked like it stood upright like a human and was looking massive. They began to retreat carefully, and when the creature moved, they all took to their heels. This family could be seen having a really relaxing evening by target shooting in a location that we don't seem to know. There was a helicopter flying above, so I presume that maybe the instructor was teaching the lad how to shoot a shotgun properly. Then we see in the background that after a few shots, a very dark and intimidating figure is spotted fleeing, probably from the sounds of the gunshots. They didn't even know until later, when they were checking out the videos they made, that they saw this movement as the creature moved on foot, leaping through the snowy field before getting down on all fours. Grab your equipment and don't forget to bring along your hiking boots, as we are heading over to the mountains at San Gabriel in California. This occurrence took place in 2020 when this hiker was just moving around the terrains of the mountains, and then he decided to take some pictures and probably some videos of the vegetation around and below. That was when he spotted this creature looking at least 10 to 15 feet tall. A very clear picture of this beast was taken, and we could well say this was one of the clearest images of the elusive Bigfoot. In 2015, a mushroom hunter found more than a mushroom as he was ransacking a mushroom forest located in northern Illinois for mushrooms, obviously. But then what he experienced next is something he didn't expect. I even didn't expect it.
And this one. And there's one over here. Looks like it's holding some water. Huh?
He was observing the mushrooms he spotted, and he was making a video of them to be uploaded on his YouTube channel, Tomorrow's Garden. When he heard a damn and legitimately loud roar from the woods, this was scary and would have been scarier had it been heard at night. Immediately he said, "It's time to go," and he hurried out of the woods. Had it been personas dedicated to catching Bigfoot, they would have ventured in and possibly met face to face with the mythical creature. Many, and most of the Bigfoot sightings of all time have majorly and possibly only been from the United States, and it's pretty understandable since the Yeti is an American mythology creature. But there have been little sightings in the UK also, as Lee Brickley claimed to have spotted some really large footprints and claw marks, which were too big to belong to any animal, in the Cannock Chase, Staffordshire forest that is well known for its mystical and unknown sightings of werewolves, UFOs, and even Bigfoot. The town of Pennsylvania has had its enormous portion of very intriguing Bigfoot encounters that have been documented right from the 1800s, where there was a long series of wild man encounters that terrified the inhabitants of the town. Then the biggest evidence they had was a spotting of a really large footprint found in the mud. It was really clear, and that foot had exactly 6 toes. For sure, it wasn't human, and it measured about 17 inches. Meanwhile, there have been reports of a certain beast, Bigfoot in particular, terrorizing livestock and people. The case was not debunked, as well as it wasn't solved. It was reported by 2 brothers a sighting of a hairy humanoid that they spotted, approximately calculated to be around 7 feet tall. The family of these brothers were camping in the woods of the Tofino Forest, dated the 16th of July 2006, and then they both decided to go hiking in the woods as they went with a camera, hoping to capture a recording of a bear or a deer, as they were said to be numerous in the area. But as they got further into the forest, they ran back a bit as they spotted something quite intimidating. It was staring at them for a while, but then when they brought out the camera to take recordings, it fled, leaving only the huge footprints. A couple were hiking on a logging road, taking glimpses of the beautiful scenery of the environment on the remote mountain of Project British Columbia in July 2013, when the woman decided to record the wonderful essence of nature surrounding them. While recording, she spotted something on a ridge, a really dark figure that looked very hairy and huge walking. Although they were a far distance away from the figure, it was something that looked less human and more like Biggie. Famous for its numerous Bigfoot sightings, the Montana-Idaho border looks like a resting place and a significant abode for the Bigfoot monster, as it has been reported spotted countless times in this particular location. We were carrying out an expedition to the very famous deadly bomb in this Bigfoot-infested location when we came across a footprint. Yes, obviously a Bigfoot print, if you know what I mean. This print was measured to be about 14 inches in length and then 8 inches wide, far from the size of any human. This was definitely Biggie spotted in Montana. We made our way to Dry Bread Hollow as Matthew Anderson reportedly made eye contact with not one, but 2 Sasquatches. He wasn't hoping to find any, so he was not recording anything. He was on a phone call. When he looked up, he saw 2 Sasquatches, at least 8.5 feet in height. The first one was staring at him with a kind of defensive grin, while the other one stepped in front as it was trying to protect the sibling. He slowly made his way back to his buggy and then took off immediately. Coming over to Dry Bread Hollow, we saw several footprints, not 1 or 2 or 3, but many footprints, old and new, showing that they have been in this environment for quite some time. On the 28th of April 2009, retired Chief of State Investigator Michael Green decided that he was going to get actual evidence of a Sasquatch, as he had spent the past 20 years trying to figure out and gather proof of the beast's existence. He had briefly spotted a creature like that in 2002 and wanted to lure it out again, but this time to get it on camera. In the Uwharrie National Forest, North Carolina, he decided to make camp there and brought along a series of bait to lure the creature out. He camped there up until 11:30, when he heard some rustling and then left his tent quietly to his car. After 2 hours, he came back and saw all the snacks were gone. Using a thermal imager, he was able to spot a huge-looking being standing on both legs, picking up the treats and going back into the deep woods. This experience was by a hunter named Josh Highcliffe, who went hunting in a swampy part of the forest at Tunica, Mississippi. He was readily stripped for the hunt for the day, as he had his camouflage on also, but he decided to wait until it got a little bit dark, and then he'd start. Along the way, he saw a very hairy creature beside a tree as it bent down, probably scratching against it, or digging beside the tree, probably for something to eat. He had no idea what he was looking at, but thought it was a bear, until it got up, and he beheld this 9-foot monster Bigfoot. He took to his heels immediately, not looking back. Footage is becoming clearer these days due to new technology, and any recent sighting would be clear enough to decide if it's Bigfoot or not. In 2022, a YouTube channel, Ken's Carpentry, caught a rather interesting footage in Vermont woods of a Yeti strolling through the forest when his drone was looking for a bear and her 2 cubs but stumbled upon what might be the most evident evidence of Bigfoot's existence. In 2012, Craig Soule set up a trail camera on his property in Monomania, Michigan, to monitor a quarry. But that camera took more than pictures of the quarry. as he was going through the pictures and spotted one snap that captured an essence of a creature in the far distance, having a similar resemblance to the questionable Bigfoot character. Being a fan of the show Finding Bigfoot, he sent the video to them, and they made a whole episode about his finding. In the year 2001, a man named Jim Mills took some kids backpacking into the woods in the Marble Mountains, north of California. This Christian youth leader was taking them hiking through the mountains and the forest when they came across a camp, a tent not so little, made completely out of vegetation. All around, they noted the huge claw marks and the broken branches and logs used to make this tent. The first suspect of this creation was obviously Bigfoot, but if there were no footprints, could it really be Bigfoot? A family went for a drive around Craven, Saskatchewan, when all of a sudden they spotted a figure walking into the bushes by the side of the road, having the elusive figure of the presumed Bigfoot. Seeing this, they all grabbed their cameras and began to record this sight. Their recording was clear enough, as you could see clearly the hairy physique, the long arms, and the abruptly tall figure as it disappeared into the woods. Could this possibly be a real Sasquatch or just something coincidentally alike? Lastly, the cherry on top of all the Biggie sightings and related evidence. In 1967, Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin, two friends who believed in the tales and the mysterious existence of the creature, decided to shoot a movie about it, the whole plot being to find Bigfoot. In Orleans, California, before they started filming, they caught footage of a female Sasquatch passing by into the woods. And of course, a lot of controversy was stirred upon their claim because they were shooting a movie, and it could have well been someone wearing a costume. But both actors stand firm on their claim that they saw the creature, and it was not at all a member of their crew. So many conspiracy theories and controversy surround the existence of Biggie, but a lot points to the picture that Bigfoot is real, or is he? Let me know what you think in the comments below.